Okay, guys, audio's on. So, guys, welcome to today's edition of the London Session Open. Today is February 26th, and it's 9:45 a.m. in London when we're doing this market update. So, we should be streaming. So we should be live right now, and we should also be live on the Investing Cube page. Um, anyway, we're gonna take a look at the markets that we usually do at this time of the day, and we're going to talk about the stock markets. Of course, there's quite a lot of activity there. Stock markets continue to decline, and it's also linked to the coronavirus and panic around that. The latest number, sort of the latest where they stopped counting yesterday, was that we had, you can't really see, so let me check this, that we had about 322 cases for Italy. And I did my latest, I just summarized here what they're doing here on laRepubblica.it. And they are up at 225 cases right now. So it hasn't been a huge change. Of course, it's soon going to be 11 a.m. in Italy, so I'm sure there's going to be more updates later today. But it was a huge jump from the prior readings. It's almost about 100% gain or so, just over the last few days, over the last day or so. And then as that percentage change, I think is scaring people. But they have taken measures in Italy to make people to stay at home. It's definitely not, as far as I understand it, enforced the same way as they're doing it in China. And I have friends, even here, close friends really, that are telling me that you have families, they don't want to stay in the quarantine area, they go south. So it wouldn't surprise me if we get more problems in Italy in the next few days, but it's more about how it's contained. It wouldn't surprise me if eventually, if things go out of hand, if they would say, all right, nobody in Rome goes out, nobody in Palermo goes out, and then at that point, I think when when we reach that stage, maybe it would have spread to the rest. You got France just around the corner. You got Switzerland. I think it was the Swiss. No, it was the Austrians. There was a train going from Venice to Austria. They stopped it at the border. So the Austrians have already, as far as I know, done something to stop people from moving too much. Because when people move a lot, then that is an issue. But even here in England, there was some article yesterday in the newspaper. There was about 10 different school classes and across the whole country where the children have been to North Italy over the last few days. So those children have asked to stay home, and I think there's even some schools that are closed. But hopefully we'll be okay. And but obviously from a trading perspective, the market is definitely worried, and that is influencing things in a negative way. So this is the S&P 500, which today is down with 80 or 79 basis points right now, but it was a little bit lower, and it's actually about to reach that 200-day moving average. You also have the German DAX, which actually traded below its 200-day moving average and continued to go lower. So there's been a bit of panic, but it's interesting to see how you have that big slide and then now having a bit of a bounce here in the market, which would tell me that maybe we're seeing a short-term low in the markets, but it's a little bit too early, and we're going to talk tactics about that in a few minutes. What we're going to do first is we're going to just go through all the markets, and then we'll talk tactics for all the different assets. But that's really what people are talking about. That is really what's moving the market. Now, in the case of the dollar index had like an amazing little push. And as you know, in certain currency pairs like Euro USD, I said like to sell here. We said we just triggered that head and shoulders here as well. So we have a good beginning of the year. And as well, I talked about the Aussie dollar going down, the New Zealand dollar going down. And that has all played out really good. But it's also interesting to see how sentiment just changed. So obviously when the dollar is down here and the dollar index is up here, the people start to talk about King Dollar and the dollar being really, really strong. I don't know if you saw, but I did an interview with a company called, like an online TV company called Le Fonti, when we're trading down here in the beginning of January. And that should actually be on the ATFX homepage. So it's 2 videos I did with these guys, but the one I did last month. This one here, 3 weeks ago, I talked about the stock markets or the dollar probably continuing to gain, and it surely did. And then now when the market or when the dollar index created a new yearly high, people start to go bullish. But the problem with that is that if you look at the dollar, the way it trades, it's still within this funny long-term right. It's definitely an uptrend. There's no doubt about it, but it's not an easy uptrend to trade or deal with. I'm just putting these on here. You can see that this little channel still pretty much is in play. So obviously it's not the exactly same channel we worked with in the past. I mean, you can see putting this on today, you got rejections, 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 rejections. And every time the market moved down lower. And here as well, we pretty much touched that high. So if this is going to continue, maybe we'll test 100 again. But if anything, the dollar probably is going to weaken a bit more. And then I do think the dollar can continue to weaken. So this is not always very clear, in the beginning. And what I have been saying is we need a bit of a correction, and we're seeing that correction right now as we speak. And this market is going upwards. Now, I'm gonna actually, I done it already once today. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna push this up a bit. Actually, I'm gonna push this up, and I'm gonna put the trend funding level there. We have not touched the sell zone yet. Remember that. We had a sell zone here somewhere, and then I pushed it up yesterday. I pushed it up this morning, and I'm pushing it up again. I have a feeling, looking at this, that the euro can continue to gain, because the conditions are, the markets are, they say the markets are a little bit bipolar. They are either going to be very, very bullish or very, very bearish. And then they have like there's no in between there. And what's happening now is that the euro is doing quite good. It's doing good against the Canadian dollar, for example, and doing good against other currencies. And I think this can continue to go up a bit more. So that's why I just bumped that up. I push it up to 50% correction of this move here, and I'm putting my trend funding level up here. There's no damage done because we haven't reached the sell zone yet. But again, things have changed a little bit, because when we were trading down here, we weren't really talking too much about what's going on in Italy at that point, right? It's something that has changed now, that Italy is and even in the top list, like you got South Korea, and you got Italy. These 691, I think these are people that are stuck on that cruiser. So yeah, this is also quite encouraging. So this is total recovered, and this is something cumulative cases, and you get existing cases, and existing cases are actually lower because people are moving away from this to here. So you need to take that minus that to get the existing cases, to get an idea of how things are progressing. And if you look at least China, that has peaked, and obviously it's going upward here in Italy. And again, it's much of what's going to happen. If we have another 50% increase in cases today, then that's going to be worrisome. And now again, we just looked at it from the closing yesterday. It was 322, and so far it's 325, so it hasn't been a huge increase. But again, maybe in the afternoon they do some more updates, and then we'll see. If it's another 100 or something like that, obviously it's going to be a big thing, and the market can continue to slip. So yeah, in the euro, let it go up a bit more. GBP versus the USD. So this one is a choppy one. I don't really like trading the pound, and you know that, right? The trend is bearish though. Like if I get rid of all the fancy stuff, you got high, so lower and lower highs, and this is the last trend funding level. We talked about selling a few days ago. This is now back into back in the money. Is pretty much in a bit of profit now. Gonna stick with this one for now. We still have the breakout from that triangle, and there are other technical issues as well. If you just look at it from a big picture perspective, we spent a lot of time here, created a lot, and then went down, and then maybe we need to go a little bit lower, and then maybe we'll form a massive major head and shoulders. And if that's not the case, then we're stuck within this big sideways pattern, and we're closer to the upper end of this sideways pattern than the lower end. So the risk reward ratio is for the downside. Dollar yen. So dollar yen had a total collapse. So we talked about this one yesterday. You need to keep an eye on the news flow plus the technicals. That's what I try to do. So the market was yesterday, the yen was just getting punished. And we did trade below my trend finding level. Now we're looking at today with fresh eyes, and it's technically still bullish about 109.58. but you would only be buying here if you really think, you know, the numbers from Italy are going to come down quite significantly, or the mood is going to change in the markets. I do think stock markets can go up, but I don't necessarily think we're going to see the yen soar on the back of that. So I'm a bit careful here. I'm watching 109.58. The market can go up to 111. That's fall very easy. But I have a feeling this market is going to turn. It's not going to be very nice. I reckon that it's going to be much like it's going to go down a bit more. It's going to trigger all these different stop losses. It's going to go down here. And by that point, most people would have given up, and this would have gone, you know, starting to get forgotten again. And then maybe from down here, from some of the trend lines, people might look thinking about. That's what I suspect is going to happen here. I wouldn't put too much emphasis, unfortunately, on technical analysis here, because it's just a market that is not really properly working. Let me just see if we are online. I'm not actually sure if we are online. Supposed to be online, but let me check something here. I'm just checking a few things. It looks like we are not online. I'm just need to make sure if we are recording. If we are recording, then so I'm going to continue for here now. Hopefully this is being recorded, and then I'll just upload the recording. Okay. So let's go back here. Actually, let me check again. No, we are live. We should be live. I'm not sure really why we're not live. Let's just continue with the recording. Hopefully things are actually being recorded. Let's move along here, and we're going to take a look at gold prices. So gold prices, yesterday we said people probably going to buy around this level. I said 116.24.58. Well, the bottom was at the 98, so we missed that entry with just about 20 cents or so. I have now bumped up the move or the levels to 1630.08, and I think if we do revisit these levels, people are probably going to be buying. The trend is going to remain bullish of 1598. What I do find really interesting is that gold prices are not much higher despite the decline we saw in stock markets. Now this is the price of crude, and crude is actually trading below support now. So the market did not bounce from this lower area because of the news. Instead, things are turning bearish. I wouldn't jump on selling right now. It just slid below support. So I reckon that you might see a bit of a short squeeze. And I would be happy to probably turn bearish. But let's see. And I mean, technically, from a trend perspective, following, as long as you're below 50.81, this is going to be a downtrend. But let's see if we close below here. If we do close below here, again, as I said before, this could be a recompletion of this major slide and of this major rectangle, which effectively would push price much lower. And this is the German DAX. So the German DAX, from a daily chart, it took out support and it went down to the 200-day moving average. You're starting to see some interesting reactions here. I had the trend defining level at 13,182 this morning. And this is an interesting level. I think if from a bigger picture perspective, as long as the world does not totally collapse, I reckon that as long as you trade above 11,832, this is going to be a bullish market, and this is usually we tend to get some sort of reaction. So I would anticipate that we could potentially bounce. But if you look at this today and right now, you do have this high here, which is really important. If we push above it, I think the candle for today is going to turn bullish. And I'm not going to tell people to sell it because I don't necessarily like the risk-reward ratio. But I do think that as long as you're below 13,025, it's going to be a downtrend. I guess we can go up a bit, maybe go up to 12,902 to 12,902. But as long as you're below that level, I think we can go down again. And we're going to take a look at the S&P 500. And I'm going to do a different strategy. Again, from a bigger picture perspective, we're very close to the 200-day moving average. That is a spot that helped us to predict this, or suggested that this could be a low, these could be lows, and these could be low. We're dealing with an uptrend at the end of the day. And then we have this major breakup point, which was the beginning of this whole massive move. And I think long-term traders, what they're doing here, they're probably starting to buy. They're starting to buy their favorite companies that they think are a bit oversold. And they're probably going to wait for some sort of reversal. And it's probably going to take some time here for this to bounce. But if one is of a more long-term investor, then that could be something to keep an eye on. And as well, the other thing here would be, I'm going to remain bearish, at least for now, from a short-term perspective, as long as you trade above 32.49, and we could go obviously go up, but then we're probably going to go lower again, and then we'll see what happens. But from a longer-term investor perspective, I'm starting to find this really interesting. Okay, we're going to wrap things up because I'm not actually sure if this was recorded. Hopefully it was recorded, and hopefully I'll be able to upload it in the next few minutes. If not, I will be doing something different for you. Thanks so much, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be live on air at that point. Thank you.